President Ramaphosa has denied accusations by the Democratic Alliance that South Africa's foreign policy is inconsistent, calling such claims politically selective, also saying that the DA overlooked recent events, including South Africa's participation in a joint African delegation that visited both Ukraine and Russia. He says South Africa has remained in ongoing discussions with both countries, and also emphasizing that the ANC conducts the country's diplomatic relations consistently and in the national interest.
DA is quite selective in its own memory. They don't even recall a recent historical moment when South Africa led a delegation of, or participated with a delegation of a number of African countries, where we went to Ukraine and to Russia, urging the two countries to end the devastating war that they are engaged in. And South Africa has remained engaged in discussions with the two countries. In a way, we are the only country possibly in the world that has been accessible to both countries in terms of forging a peace. We talked to the Ukrainians, President Zelensky, we talked to President Putin, and we have been engaged in a number of initiatives, including the release of prisoners of war, including the release of children who were taken out of Ukraine. And in this case, we are a reliable partner that many leaders in the world have also recognized. They come to us and even say, can you pass on a message to President Putin? Can you pass on a message to President Zelensky? So we are not being hypocritical. We are very practical and very honest and determined in fostering peaceful outcomes in various conflicts in the world.
Meanwhile, the Freedom Front Plus says the ANC cannot speak on behalf of all South Africans on Venezuela or foreign policy. FF Plus leader Dr Corné Mulder has welcomed recent U.S. action against Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro, describing his government as illegitimate and responsible for widespread human rights abuses. Mulder says critics of the U.S. have remained silent for years while Venezuelans endured poverty, repression and a deepening humanitarian crisis, also accusing the ANC of hypocrisy, citing its handling of international law in the Omar al-Bashir matter and its stance on Russia's invasion on Ukraine. Now, the FF Plus saying Durka's move to take the issue to the UN Security Council was a unilateral ANC decision, not a position agreed by the Government of National Unity. For more on this now, we speak to ANC NEC member Mzwandile Masina. Very good evening to you and compliments of the season. Thank you so much for your time. While the ANC, of course, has spoken out on the developments in Venezuela, you've just heard the FF Plus, for example, saying that the ANC cannot speak on behalf of all South Africans. Also, the Democratic Alliance accusing Durka of what it calls diplomatic hypocrisy and saying that this exposes, and I quote, the politically selective and hypocritical means which the ANC conducts the country's diplomatic relations on the international stage. Your response?
Look, firstly, the ANC condemns in the strongest term the aggression that is directed at the people of Venezuela and the kidnapping of the president of that country, and including the wife and the child. And I think that the Freedom Front Plus does not represent the people of South Africa. We are in the Government of National Unity with them, and we've always known, as we said, because the outcome of the 2024 gave us 18 parties that are participating in Parliament. And this is not a new Parliament. There's foreign policy which we've been following, and we have been explaining this. This is not the first time, as you know, that recently we took a case of Israel and Palestine into the ICJ, and we're following the foreign policy of South Africa. So if they want to create their own foreign policy, they can do so, but we will continue as the African National Congress that is leading the GNU to really raise issues quite sharply as it relates to these issues that have been raised. Our view as the African National Congress is that the president of Venezuela was hijacked and kidnapped by the president of the USA. And we condemn that in the strongest possible term. And We are not representing our jackets, we are representing the majority that voted the African National Congress.
And you are all, as you say, in the government of national unity, right, together. And I wonder if you are speaking in different voices, what does it tell ordinary South Africans?
Look, not just the GNU, the people of the global citizens are basically have to respect international law. And that's the starting point. So what we are doing here, we're dealing with the charter, which must be respected on international affairs. So we are really implementing that, and we have been explaining ourselves through government. But today the ANC also released a statement explaining the position on behalf of our people, and we'll be going to South Africans to make them understand why it is important that whilst we're also isolated as a country, we had to mobilize international support, which is why the solidarity is one of the framework that we have to continue with in line with our foreign policy.
You, as the ANC, in that statement as well, is that you talk about you've joined the calls for the release of President Maduro and the First Lady, but one wonders if this is a call you think will be heeded.
Well, this call is made to the Security Council. They have a responsibility to make sure that there is global peace. And in terms of the statute, no country should invade the other country. It is in that line, and every country will have to pursue self-determination. So we cannot accept the kidnapping of the head of state. When there are a crisis in Venezuela, the people of Venezuela and the global institutions that have been created since 1945 have capacity to deal with challenges that the globe is experiencing. This is unheard of, that a head of state can hijack the other head of state willy-nilly. And if this can be allowed, it will tamper with the UN Charter, and we want to condemn that in the strongest possible terms.
And you speak about the Security Council. Its role has come under scrutiny over years, with some, including South Africa, calling for the reform of that institution. And yesterday, when we were watching the debate, for example, council members are split over whether this move by the US, in fact, upholds accountability or it undermines the fundamental principles of international order. And one wonders, when you're looking at this and you're speaking to the Security Council, is this still a Security Council to which you can pin your hopes?
Look, these are the bodies established internationally, and we have full confidence in them. And we think that the members of the P5, which are the members with veto power, we've been following the discussion and what is their take. And we're confident that when the time is right, they should give the vote in support of the statute, because this is not a favor, this is an international practice. And if it can be allowed, as you heard President Trump saying that Cuba is next, Mexico is next, and so on, nothing stops him to say we are next. And I believe that we have our own unique democracies as countries which must be respected, and the rule of law as set out in terms of these multilateral institutions.
And before I let you go, the SACP today, of course, commemorating the passing of Joe Slovo, but we're asking our viewers tonight about whether or not they think that the SACP and the ANC can eventually find each other before the local government elections this year. I just want to take two of the comments and get your thoughts as I let you go, just to get an understanding of what you have to say. And Khabone was saying, hi, Bongiwe. Hi, it's a matter of must to resolve their squabble. The inability of the alliance partners to resolve their issues erodes our trust, making voters question their capacity to govern effectively and solve the country's problems, such as poor service delivery and corruption.
All democracy-loving people should be worried.
Pardon me, Mzandile, I'm going to give you a chance in just a moment. Let me take this last one. Bull is saying that as things stand, I doubt they will be able to resolve their internal squabbles. And with that, these are just the two comments we'll take tonight from some of those that we've asked our viewers to send. What do you have to say to them?
Look, as you saw that the president today addressed the 31st anniversary of the passing of Joe Slovo, who was a glue that held the African National Congress and SSP together. We still believe that the impasse will be resolved between the two parties, And we are confident that we should be able to resolve our internal challenges, because the alliance is an important component that will ensure that there is stable democracy and work towards a national democratic revolution. We're confident that we should find each other. And if not, there should be some mechanism in which we can work out, because many members of the ANC, as well as members of the SSCPF, got dual membership, which has been allowed. And this is an alliance that was formed through blood. So it's not something that we want to easily just forsake as the people of South Africa. And I think that we have to work hard to ensure that there is unity of the alliance.
Mr. Masina, I appreciate your time. That was the ANC NEC's member, Mzwandile Masina.